You see the little shit going. That's a video.
What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Bob Arum. Bob Arum is hoping to finalize the Fury versus Wilder 3 soon. The third fight between the heavyweight stars will happen. It's just a matter of when and where, of course. Bob Arum wants to get the deal done for the contractual obligated third fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder done as soon as possible. And he hopes to do the bout late this year in November or December. He says it may very well be that we might have to do it out of the US, out of the UK. We're in constant contact with the PBC. We're working for a location. We have two possibilities to do this fight, appropriate for prime time in the United States. Obviously, there's different time zones. We hope to put it together next month. Of course, Fury is 30-0 now with one draw with 21 KOs. Stopped Wilder, which is 42-1, won in 41 KOs in the 7th round on February 22nd, which was by far the biggest fight of 2020 thus far to date, and may end up being the biggest one this year. The two first met in 2018 in December, going to a controversial draw. Now, we know all that backstory, this, that, and the other, but the question remains, where would this be? Okay, the out of the country situation. I don't know why it would be out of the country. I have no objections to it, but I have to question this because of this reason. Okay. Why would you have a fight out of the country from a fighter that from the UK that had a contractual agreement to fight only in the US? You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. I remember Tyson Fury saying that the reason he couldn't fight Anthony Joshua in the UK is because he had a contract with ESPN, right? So if that's the case, I feel that there should be no reason to have it out of the country, because then let's say he beats Wilder again, and then they're talking about the Joshua fight, and then that, you know, of course the Joshua fight would be best at home in the UK. And then their excuse would be, no, it has to be in the U.S. because he's signed with ESPN. Well, wait a minute. You guys had, even if they don't have the fight out of the country, right, out of the U.S., they still had plans to have it out of the U.S. So when it comes to that roadblock of having a potential fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, that shouldn't be an issue, because they are already willing for this particular fight, a fight that we didn't really want to see. And the only person, or the only people that want to see that, are Deontay Wilder and his team and his fans. Okay? The rest of us don't. Because, you know, we saw everything we needed to see. Deontay Wilder should step aside or whatnot, but he's not going to, right? And that's that. But if they're willing to go out of the country to fight Tyson Fury, that means Tyson Fury should be willing to go back home and fight Anthony Joshua. And another point I want to make out is about this situation. This fight now is talking about being in November or December. You know, I see Born to Lose all over this. Why? Because with the WBC, if they're talking about Deontay Wilder, you know, being ready, because you know he can't spar or train until July. So if he can't do that until July, you know, I think that puts a hold on a lot of things. A potential fight with Anthony Joshua. The mandatory spot with Dillian White, because if he fights in November, why would he turn around and fight in February? That wouldn't be right, and that wouldn't be right to Tyson Fury, but it's not right to Wilder. I mean, to White, because Wilder was injured. Deontay Wilder's injured. That's nobody's fault but himself. Okay, I know things happen, but at the end of the day, you can't hold mandatory stipulations up because you got injured. You know what I mean? In that contractual agreement, it should have been, hey, well, if this fighter gets injured, that means that that contract for that reason should have been void, or that should have been an exemption of not fighting for that particular at that particular time, because the fighter that's activating the rematch clause is injured. So if he's injured, how the hell is he going to stage a fight? And then he has to be ready to stage the fight because he has to be and he has to be healed enough. Well, who determines that? The contract doesn't. The doctors do. The fighter does, right? So at what point does that contract become void, or at least push back? You know, you don't have to void it necessarily, but you do have to question, like, okay, well, how long is he going to be hurt for? Because that wasn't in the contract, I'm pretty sure, you know, because that's a long time that the other fighter, which the new reigning champion, has to wait. Because, again, it's not a WBC issue. It's not a sanctioning body issue. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the contract that they signed. That you have to be the devil are in the details. Okay, I remember Anthony Joshua saying that a couple years ago, and I kind of side-eyed it at first when that $50 million came around, but you have to really think about it, because, see, now Deontay Wilder's injured. He's had surgery. He's in rehab, recovery right now, riding bikes and shit, okay? But then Tyson Fury has to wait, and Tyson Fury's in shape. He's the reigning WBC champion, and he has a mandatory to deal with. Okay, so Deontay Wilder is holding that up with his injury. See, if Wilder was actually smart, it has nothing to do with the ego. I mean, it has everything to do with the ego, but if he was smart, the injury would be the main reason that he couldn't fight Fury, and his fans and everybody else should understand that. You know, because he could either fight Joshua by that time, because, you know, unifications trump all. And then White, I guess, would be pushed back again. But to fight Deontay Wilder didn't have a contract to fight the winner either. So the step-aside notion and him, you know, taking or waiting or whatever for a certain fee, it shouldn't have an attachment of him fighting the winner behind it anyways, because that means that Anthony Joshua, the unified champion, would have to be included in that contract signed on the second rematch or the second fight of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So it gets real tricky. He has nothing to do with that. Joshua has nothing to do with their contract. Okay, so neither does that injury. That injury was, hey, he sustained another injury. The man's been injured. He's hurt himself and injured himself 7 or 8 times. You know what I mean? So, okay, those things happen, but at what cost? At what expense? At what hold does that contractual agreement hold on Tyson Fury himself? Just because he wants to exercise another fight. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Tyson Fury would look forward to the fight because he wants to beat the shit out of Deontay Wilder again. You know, but, you know, in hindsight, you're looking at, like, what happened. And now everybody has to wait on Deontay Wilder. It's still all about Wilder, and it really shouldn't be. You know, I think Wilder should get out of the way, let himself properly heal, and then he can come back, and, you know, and then exercise that contract. You know, and then fight Fury after all. And then if Fury comes out victorious, he doesn't have to worry about any other opponent but Fury, and then avenge his only loss. But that's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think about Bob Arum's comments. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.